Priest shocked by woman's cheating husband confession. Abigail Randall strolled lazily through the village square. The summer breeze occasionally lifted her short dress, exposing her legs to mid-thigh. She noted with satisfaction the way the men on the street looked at her, their lust obvious to all. They had been looking at her like this since she had moved to the village with her husband 6 months ago. Some of them weren't just looking, they were doing it, and that was why Abigail was heading to the church for confession this afternoon. Abigail didn't really believe in the possibility of absolution, but she had her own reasons for wanting to tell all her sins. As she walked by, there was a group of women standing by the fountain. As she passed by, their voices hushed to a whisper, and Abigail realized that they were talking about her, as were all the women in the village. She was rarely called by her first name. She was always addressed as a harlot, a vixen, a traitor. Some, the more religious ones, would spit in the street when she passed by. None of this bothered Abigail too much. In her 23 years, she'd been to many such villages, and cities too. Even as a child, she had realized that she lived in a man's world, and that it was more important to be liked by men than by other women. Even before she became a woman, Abigail was well aware that she had a kind of power over men, that she attracted them to her without asking. When she finally reached maturity, she realized the secret of her power and began to understand the nature of men's lust for her. She happily indulged their desires, exposed herself to them, and gave them what they dreamed of, but they always wanted more. She knew that her face was very beautiful, her skin smooth and soft, her features perfect in every way, but she also knew that it was her body that attracted men the most. She had very long legs, a small waist, wide hips, and large breasts. As she entered the church, a stocky, well-built man dressed as a priest noticed her and went straight to the confessional. She came every week at this time, and he was always ready to receive her, ready to listen and absolve her. When she went to confession as a young girl, she hated every minute of it. She wanted to scream at the priest that he was a liar, that everything he says is a lie, that he was full of garbage. Another problem she usually had with priests was trying to control her tongue. She may live in a small village now, but she grew up in a town where people spoke plainly. Since her first confession in this church a few months ago, she had been able to speak freely, to tell her story in her own words. "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned," Abigail said as she sat down in her seat. "How long has it been since your last confession?" a deep voice asked from the darkness. "It has been a week since my last confession. Father, I have much to confess. I have sinned many times." "Pray on, my child. The Lord is listening." "Father, there was a village fair last Sunday, and as you know, my husband organized everything. All the proceeds were to go to charity, so he wanted to make as much money as possible. One of the attractions was a kissing booth. Some locals disapproved of the idea, saying it was sinful, but my husband knew that men were willing to pay good money for the chance to kiss one of the most beautiful local girls. He asked around, but the only girl willing to do it turned out to be the mailman's daughter, Mary Archer. I don't like to speak ill of anyone, Father, but you'd have to pay men to kiss her, not the other way around. Eventually, my husband asked me if I would agree to do it in her place, and I said yes. The booth was actually a large tent at the far end of the field, and when I walked into it that morning, I saw that there was a table with 2 chairs on either side. I was to sit on the far one, and the men would come in one at a time, put money in a jar on the table, and then bend over to kiss me. I was just putting things in order there when the first man came in. It was Mr. Rado, the butcher. He stood next to me and put some money in the jar. I should have gone and sat down at the table, but I thought it was better to stay where I was and let him kiss me standing up. I've never liked that man. He rarely shaves and he always smells like meat. Whenever he catches me alone on the street, he won't stop groping me. Still, when his lips touched mine, I felt that fire in my belly that I've known so well since I became a woman. His tongue pressed against my lips. I opened my mouth and let him kiss me deeply, passionately, more than I should have. His hands cupped my buttocks and he pulled me closer. I felt his body pressed against me. Did that turn you on, my child? Yes, Father. Abigail nodded in the darkness. Pray go on. I knew I should have pushed him away, but somehow I couldn't. My lack of protest must have emboldened him. He lifted his hands and began to caress my breasts, kissing me. I knew it was a sin, but I let him do it anyway. And that's all he did? Yes, Father. He started to lift my skirt. I knew that in a few seconds he would try to remove my underwear. He wanted to make love to me, Father. I'm sure of it. And he was fornicating with you? No, Father, he did not. And why? He heard a noise outside the tent and rushed out. I think he was afraid in case his wife found out what he was trying to do to me. Why do you get into these situations? The priest asked in a soft tone. I can't help it, Father. All the men in the village know me. They know how excited and worried I get when they're around me. I think they can feel how excited I get. Often when I walk past them, they reach out to touch my breasts. They know they can do whatever they want to me, and I will only smile and encourage them to do even more. Do you think that makes me a cheater? I don't know, do you? Yes. Maybe, she replied nonchalantly. Perhaps there are problems in the marital bed. Perhaps that is why you are seeking satisfaction elsewhere. No, Father. My husband gives me great pleasure every single night. I love it when he makes love to me. But of course he knows what you do. The village gossipers do nothing but discuss you. I confess I've heard them. What does your husband think of your antics? The thing is, Father, he would know even if the women here didn't like to tell tales. I tell him myself every time a man even looks at me. If he doesn't just look, my husband only asks for details. I am sure he likes it. He wants his wife to be a cheater. That's why he decided to marry me. Perhaps, said the priest. Of course, I've heard of men with such tendencies. It's a strange behavior, but not as rare as you might think. The devil works in inscrutable ways, as does our Heavenly Father. Yes, Father, but is he, my husband, evil? No, of course not. He is a disease. That's all it is. Perhaps if he had not had such a wife, could he have gotten over it? Is that what you mean to say? No, no, my dear. It is not your fault. Although you might say that you are his partner in crime. After all, you are the one committing the sin. He is merely tempting you. Like the devil? Yes, in a way. I see, Father. Thank you. It helps to talk about it. That's what I'm here for, my child. You told me you still have many sins to confess. Yes, Father. That man, the butcher, he was only the first. I had to kiss every man in the village. Once they found out I was the girl in the kissing booth, they all came to the fair. I see. And they all kissed you like Mr. Rado? Oh, no, Father. Some of them were very shy. One of them, the carpenter's boy, was very shy. He gave me a quick kiss on the cheek and then turned to leave. I had to call him back to kiss him properly. Properly kissed? Yes, with tongue. You made him kiss you like that? Yes, Father. He is a very handsome boy, much more so than most of the men in the village. I wanted to kiss him more than the others, and I did. I knew he really wanted it. I could see that he liked it. I pressed myself against him and felt him drawn to me. All those men you kissed, were they all horny? Yes, Father, especially after I took off my bra. Why did you do that? One of the men, Mr. Seymour. He asked me to do it. He said he'd give me more if I did it. It was all for charity, so I could hardly refuse, could I? Did you show him your breasts? Just for a second or two. I just took off my bra and pulled my dress down briefly. Your breasts were exposed in front of him? Yes, but he didn't touch me or anything. I expected him to. Honestly, Father, I even hoped he would do it. I felt really horny with all those men kissing me and groping my body. And when he left, you didn't put your bra back on? Number I didn't see the point of it. And anyway, I didn't have time. As soon as he left, the next one came in. There was a big line outside. Did any of the men who came in after him also ask to see your breasts? No, Father. Well, not right away. I think almost every man in the village came into the booth and kissed me during the first hour of the fair. Then some of them came back for a return visit. Mr. Seymour must have told them how I showed him my breasts for an extra charitable donation. Of course, now they all wanted to see it. I know it was indecent, sinful, but I did it anyway. For charitable reasons? No, Father. Because I was turned on by the way they looked at me, the way their eyes glazed over with lust as they stared at my breasts. Did men touch you? Yes, Father. By now I was sitting on the table facing the men as they entered one by one. I didn't bother to button the straps of my dress. I just sat there with my breasts openly on display as they entered. Some of them politely asked if they could touch them. Others would just walk up to me and start squeezing it while kissing me at the same time. Then they started doing more. I let them do whatever they liked. Soon things went even further. A schoolteacher asked to see my stockings for him. I lifted my skirt for him, high up so he could see my suspenders. When the next guy came in, I stayed in the same position, exposing my stockings and suspenders for all to see. As he kissed me, he ran his hand up my skirt. He told me that I must be enjoying myself. I just winked at him and let him continue to caress my body. By this time, I realized that all the men were piled up outside the tent. Every time one of them went inside and enjoyed me, he would come out and tell the others how far I had let him go. Of course, each one wanted to go farther than the last. If one only felt my underwear, the next one wanted to feel more. What happened next? Father asked in a low, panting voice. Soon one of them helped me remove my dress and I was left sitting in just my underwear. Then the next man unbuckled my suspenders and removed my underwear. I sat on the table facing the men as they came in one by one to look at my body. You let them go even further, didn't you? Yes, Father. I soon noticed that they all had an attraction to me. After that, they all wanted to have sex with me. When Mr. Rado came back again, I told him he couldn't do it. He got very angry, saying that it wasn't fair since I let so many others have sex with her. He was very upset, and all I could think of was to lie on the table and let him have sex with me. I loved every minute of it. There was silence in the confessional for a few moments. Then Abigail spoke again. I know I have been very sinful, Father. What is my punishment? Very well, Abigail, he replied after a short pause. You are to say an act of contrition, and then 50 Hail Marys and 50 Our Fathers. I don't think that will be enough, Father. I don't think it will help me stop being a cheater at all. What do you suggest? I think you should come home with me and put me on your lap, and then give me a good spanking. Will you do that for me? Yes, the throaty whisper replied. Let's go. He walked out of the confessional and on unbending legs toward the coat rack at the end of the room. He pulled on an overcoat and tied a scarf around his neck. He looked at Abigail as she came out of the confessional booth. She ran her hand down her thigh, swaying her hips slightly. She was amazing, a force of nature. Sex on legs. He walked over, took her hand, and led her out of the church. The women at the fountain watched in disgust as they passed. Abigail stuck her tongue out, bent over, and pulled up her dress to show them her body. She wasn't wearing any underwear. Did you see that? The carpenter's wife asked as they moved farther away. I can't stand that couple. Lord knows why Father Linehan asked him to repair the church. His wife shouldn't even be allowed in such a sacred place, but she always meets him and they walk home together like they're a normal couple. Normal? Mrs. Rado scoffed. How can it be normal? He knows perfectly well that she's nothing but a cheater. And what does he do about it? Nothing. I caught my husband peeping on her last week. If he does it again, there will be trouble, I tell you." Both old women spat on the floor, then quickly found someone else to gossip about. "So," Abigail said to her husband when they reached the house, "are you going to give me a good spanking? Are you going to punish me?" "No, baby," he replied as he took off his coat and changed into a priest's uniform he'd found while working at the church. "I'm going to make love to you. It won't feel like punishment, trust me." He looked at his wife and smiled. They had been playing this game for weeks now. He would dress up as a priest and listen to her fantasies as if it were her confession. Then they would go home and have sex. Today was the best day ever. So much spice was added by the realization that the village fair was actually tomorrow and that Abigail would actually be the girl in the kissing booth. He was sure she would actually have something to confess after that. The end! Subscribe to my channel? Thank you.